Hi, y'all. How we doing, Dan?
Hey, John. Good. Thank you.
PT is ready to ask some questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So at one of the events I was at over the weekend, one of the graduation events, the speaker was talking about how this step for the graduates is now a new birth of freedom for them to go out, carve their path, do what's right for them. It's sort of a stepping stone element. And he said one of the things that he took away, he was a big historian individual, and he talked about Abe Lincoln talking about coming out of the changes out of the Civil War and the emancipation approach. And hey, it's a new birth of freedom, and it needs to be a new birth for everybody. But his idea was you hit an accomplishment, you hit something. Hey, it's a new level, it's a new element of go apply what's best for you and enjoy it. Enjoy that freedom it now gives you. So I think a lot of that happens in sales. So you start building up a book of business, and that gives you new freedom to do new things. And you start having more income, new freedom, new things. Can you talk about that mentality and how it can help you get more exponential growth?
Maybe it starts with just looking at what your competition's already doing and don't copy them.
Yeah.
So freedom and inspiration and change and all that. Each of us has a chance to create a life that we want, a business that we want. And one of the traps, so to speak, that I see a lot of businesses get into, especially when I'm talking to the owners, is they've been doing the same thing over the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And my question to them is, what if today was your first day? What would you do differently? How would you structure things? What would the employees be like? And when you start to create that, it can get very exciting for a lot of people, because it's almost like, hey, I can start to create something new. I don't have to just keep doing the same old, same old. And by the way, we can do that with our lives as well. It doesn't just have to be work, but work's a really good place to take a look and go, what can I do that's different, that's fun, that's enjoyable? And at the end of all of this, John, when we do things like that, when we are making changes and we're trying to rebuild, it actually becomes very energizing. It
Yes.
remotivates us. It gets those creative juices going, and just like it did maybe when we first started our business.
Yeah, and I think there is an element of sometimes our experience and the way we've always done things becomes a little bit of baggage for us going forward, because it's hard to get away from what's made you successful to this point. And there are core things you probably don't want to get away from, but there's things you do
Yep.
you want to bring anew. And I think it's hard to keep that mentality. And I know this piece is a little more conceptual. We're usually talking about more concrete tactics or strategies, but I think this also goes back to where you talk about attitude.
Mm.
And what is the attitude you carry into change or a new venture? We've all been around that person who is kind of the downer of the conversation because they really just don't want to change.
Yeah.
um, but we don't talk enough. We do a lot, but I don't know that it gets out there enough about the attitude you carry into things. Everything from a Monday morning meeting with your team to a new prospect meeting on Tuesday afternoon to a new initiative. It's really important.
Well, here's a real quick example. There's a lot of people that I talk to in the world of sales that go, "Oh, I'm so glad I can now meet face to face with people." Well, there are people that don't want to meet you face to face.
Yeah,
So you better learn how to sell virtually.
yeah,
That's an example.
yep. There we go. All right, everybody. See you again tomorrow.
All right, take care.